Greetings, friends and fellow aliens, and thank you for tuning into this video, and also Happy New Year. We have started the new year. I know I'm a couple days late. I'm into it. It's been pretty busy. Been traveling through the holidays and all that kind of stuff. But I'm here. I'm back. I'm kind of settled in. And starting 2022 off with a bang, with some of the worst mental headspace I have ever been in. And hey, it happens, right? Yesterday for me was, it was a tough day. It was a tough headspace day. Why? Yeah, I don't really know. Something sets it off. I don't know if this happens to you, but one little event or one thing that's said to you or something that just happens can just, a lot of days you feel like you're just holding it together, right? You're on the edge of a cliff, you're hanging on, and just something comes along and peels off a couple of fingers, and then boom, just like friggin' Mufasa and the Lion King, like down you go into the herd to get trampled to death, and it's fantastic. Really love it. It's one of my favorite things. So there's that. I am struggling right now with a lot of different feelings and emotions and everything else, and just trying to keep my head down and move forward, trying to breathe a little bit, relax a little bit, and having a macro view of the world and my life in it. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, Earth has been here for a couple billion years. I'm a speck in that. I will continue to be a speck. I am dealing with a host of anxieties. I am dealing with bouts of depression here and there. It is a struggle, and that's what it is right now. You can't just tell somebody that's struggling, like, well, just don't. Well, just be happy. Or say toxic positivity things like, everybody's going through stuff. And like, nobody likes it right now. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, of course. But like, let's not minimize the problems that individuals have. So if you are struggling, I hope you understand that I see you out there. I know what it is like. I know how grating it can be when people are behaving that way towards you. You are not alone, and while that may or may not help, you're not alone. There are people that know what you're going through, and I hope that you understand that this is a safe space. Here on this channel and all those kinds of things, I keep an eye on the comments. Barely any viewers at this point because I've taken so much time off from the channel that like 10 people are going to see this video, which is fine. So hey, it's cool. We're going to take this as a small group and just sort of hang out together. So I'm coming at you tonight to read the first chapter of my book to you. And I thought long and hard about doing this. I did it a while ago before the book was edited and published and all of those things, where I read the first chapter. But it had changed so much since then that I pulled that video. I didn't want it out there anymore. And I'm trying to get into a better place as far as an audio recording for the book. My goal is to record my own book as the audiobook, my voice reading the book. Tonight, I'm doing a little bit of a dry run. Here's the thing. I live in a 3rd floor apartment, and it's lovely. And you see like my space lights and stuff going on over there. I have like a little space thing, that like projector thing that puts like stars around and stuff like that. I just kind of like it. I like the vibe. I live in a beautiful space, and I know it's a beautiful space, and I've landed here and progressively have come to just love the small space that I'm in. Yes, it's not perfect. I wish I had more room. I wish I had thicker walls so I couldn't hear my neighbor cutting food and eating it. Like I can practically hear my neighbors chew sometimes. That's how thin the walls are. I can hear him. I can hear him right now. He's going through a bag, digging for something, probably some kind of food item. It's a thing. And yes, dogs barking, people farting. I mean, you name the sound. I've heard the sound. And I'm also sure that people have heard me in the morning just yelling at the world out the window, and it's fine. I don't care. So to do an actual audio recording of the book, I mean, look, there's a lot of things that have to be in place, right? You need to be able to have a solid recording. You need to have the equipment to do the recording. You need to have no noise. Now, I can limit things like echo, and I can deaden the sound a little bit, but there is no getting around the fact that I live on a third floor apartment next to a city, right by, I mean, can see it out the windows, a very, very busy intersection, one of the busiest intersections around, that goes straight to the highway. So there's sirens and ambulances and police and all sorts of things going on. Plus there's a 7-Eleven there, and sometimes there's just some dude that wants to test out his stereo for the whole neighborhood. It's a thing. So can I actually record a full audiobook in this space? I don't think so. I think there's too much background noise, but I can't afford a studio to record it. If I recorded the entire book in a studio, I'm looking at an outlay of probably at least about $1,000 to book the time to be able to do it, to re-record some of the passages that, I have some difficulty with. I mean, you're reading a book out loud. It's a little bit slower. So these are my options right now. And I want to make this work. I'm just not quite sure how to do it. And I can't exactly build a soundproof studio in a third floor apartment with thin walls and a busy intersection with giant windows and all the things. It's just not going to work. So I'm trying to figure it out. But tonight, dry run. Background sounds be damned. Squeaky chair sounds be damned. Whatever. I'm just going to let it go out there and have at it. So it's like a practice night, and I'm going to bring up my words on a tablet and get it down that way, because this way you won't hear me flipping pages and you won't hear any of that associated noise with it. It can literally just be, sorry, I'm clearing my notifications. It can literally just be my voice reading a chapter, and off we go. I'm going to adjust the mic settings just a little bit and get a little bit closer to it so I can have at it. Now, if you have not read the book is The Caretaker. This is an author copy, so it's got this stupid thing on it that says not for resale. It's the only way I can get a copy for under $6. But if you haven't read it yet, this will give you at least a picture of that first chapter. If you had, I hope you enjoy the author reading the first chapter of the book. And if you have any questions about it or want to talk about it, or you have read it or have any feedback, please post it in the comments. One of the things I love, look, I avoid a lot of DMs and conversations, particularly when it gets personal, but I love talking about writing, and I love talking about this story and the characters and the process. And my goal is to help writers write their own words, and to at least show you my struggles and what it's like, to help motivate you to put your own words down. It doesn't even have to be writing, just anything that's a creative pursuit. If you're an artist, I'm with you, man, because I get it. I get the struggle. I get that it's really hard. And just like you, I want to succeed at it as well. See, the thing about a tablet, when it's just like that, is I can use a PDF and just easily scroll with my thumb, which is a pretty silent, like ninja way of scrolling through pages, other than hearing them flipping in front of the microphone and all that kind of stuff. Now, I will say right off the bat, I am not a voice actor. I always wanted to be. I always wanted to do that. I can do weird voices and like sounds and whatever else because it's super fun, and I love reading, and I love how my voice comes across with good equipment and recording. I used to be an AM radio DJ. I did that for almost 2 years, and I had a blast doing so, being able to share music and do all those kinds of things. But there were only like 4 listeners for the station. But hey, my glory moments, right, as a radio DJ. So off you go. But as I get through this, I may stumble a little bit. If I do, I'm just going to leave it in, and like I said, it's afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and listen to this audio and see if I can process it in such a way that will work and will limit some of the background sounds. So maybe there's a chance that I can record an entire audiobook in this apartment, but I doubt it. So I'm just going to have to figure this out as I go. Anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to read the title, the dedication, the disclaimer, and then get into the first chapter, and then just wrap it up a little bit right at the end. Please, pretty please, give a listen, give a like. If you've read the book and you enjoy the book, please share it with others. I am self-published. Everything is just out of, when you're self-published, everything is just your own effort. So it is hard. There's no team of people. There's nothing like that. It is literally just you, your words, and trying to share them the best way you know how. So I hope this resonates for you, and I hope you love it, and I will see you when I get back. The Caretaker by David Batterina. This book is a work of fiction. Any references to real events, real people, and real places are used fictitiously. Names, characters, places, and incidents are a product of the author's weird imagination. Any resemblance to persons living or dead, actual events, organizations, or locations is coincidental, maybe. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced or transmitted in any form, or by any means, including but not limited to graphic, analog, electronic, mechanical, telepathy, beat poetry, interpretive dance, or modern-day bard song. Reproduction or transmission via photocopy, recording, taping, cave drawings, or by any information storage, recording, or retrieval is expressly prohibited without direct written permission by the author. References to artistic media or works are the property of their respective creators and copyright holders. Don't steal. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved, ISBN 979-8672-088426. Dedication. To Joseph, my hero, my friend, my brother. The day you passed, my heart was irreparably broken. In our last voice conversation, you asked all about this project, barely 1,000 words old. Well, here it is. 32 chapters for number 32. I hope, somehow, some way, in some time or alternate reality, I can hand it to you, and we can celebrate this accomplishment together. Your loss made me realize that the time to dream big and follow your heart is today. I hope whoever is reading this is inspired to do just that. I will forever be your little brother. That doesn't get easier. The Caretaker, Chapter 1, The Hole in My Heart. With a little luck, I'd be dead in exactly 23 minutes. This part was the most nerve-wracking. I was 12 miles from a deserted warehouse, off a country road in the middle of nowhere, ready to meet some kid for the first time. His job was to deliver an unopened package to my hands. I'd spent the past 6 months tracking down the contents of that parcel. My contacts in the antiquities and connections throughout a network of black market artifact dealers had led me here. I owed too many favors now and had an abundance of cash to replenish, so I was hoping my efforts would pay off tonight. I'd been down this road twice before, a few years ago, after being robbed of my responsibility. Recovering a one-of-a-kind artifact was always difficult, yet easier than you'd think. Prize items produced an abundance of talking and hushed whispers within a secretive circle. Most of them had known I was coming for it, so it didn't get too far before I was able to arrange to have it back in my hands, where it belonged. I had 3 things on my to-do list for the night. First, I had to meet someone I'd never seen before in a random, desolate location, and then lie about why. I needed to make sure it was safe and secluded, and hoped they hadn't posted their evening plans on social media. Second, I had to assure them I didn't show up to murder them. That was the toughest part. From their perspective, they'd had someone arrange a no-questions-asked package delivery for a decent payday. It sounded shady because it was. Third, I'd kill myself. Tonight, I'd have an audience of one. I had to do it in front of them, in hopes they could follow simple instructions while I bled out at their feet. I'd always been happy to pay someone for following directions. Sometimes, I'd catch myself wondering hard if this life was something worth my gratitude. Though I'd miss the excitement if I were just, dead. I never thought I'd become an adult and have to spell out things such as, please don't throw up on me, or don't call the police. In my experience, they almost always called the police, and it almost always became super complicated after that. All I knew was that this time I was meeting a teenager looking for quick cash. Another short-term acquaintance in a lifetime littered with them, I was sure. I developed the habit of not getting too attached to people. That's what endless disappointment had gotten me. I hoped whatever kid was delivering this thing wouldn't freak out like the last one. I'd been 2 weeks, dead, in shallow weeds behind a gas station in Hoboken. Were it not for that inebriated homeless guy bringing me back to life, I would still be there. It smelled worse than he did when I came back. The radio had produced only static for the last 40 miles. I could barely see the road. I've been watching massive farm insects smashing into my windshield all evening. If nothing else, it was a constant reminder that life could be brief and could end in the most unceremonious of ways. Time was becoming a factor. If I ended up even a minute late, all kinds of things could go sideways. I was already trying to make up lost time because of a flat tire just outside of Omaha. The dark country road I'd been on for countless hours looked bathed in artificial light up ahead. The warehouse. It was nice looking at something other than massive stalks of corn and a starry sky. It was a crumbling old building with a crappy Honda in the parking lot, yet still a welcome sight. So far, so good. I had 5 minutes to die. I backed into the parking lot a few spots from the other car and noticed something. It had a Starfleet Academy window sticker. Perfect. A nerd. I always faced my car out toward the road, just in case I had to run later. After turning my car off, I stashed the keys and my wallet in the glove box. It was time to get in the abandoned warehouse and meet my delivery person. I pulled hard on the heavy door, and squealing, rusted hinges announced my entrance. A frightened young man stood there, nearly soiling himself at my abrupt entrance. We stared at each other across a large lobby with a grimy waiting room. Who are you? I considered him for a moment. He had on ripped jeans and a ratty old John Deere t-shirt. Big blue eyes stared at me through a mop of disheveled golden hair hanging just below his eyebrows. While unkempt, my gut instincts considered him harmless, so I figured he could get the condensed version of what was about to happen without too much hand-holding. I snatched the package from him, and my frantic hands began unwinding the twine. How old are you, kid? 17. Great. This'll sound super weird, but I need you to help me by following precise directions. Okay, but who are you? I sighed. Every one of them played the get-to-know-you game. After dealing in artifacts for as long as I had, I'd developed the habit of avoiding personal information. You can call me William, I said. The first rule is don't ask me another damn question until I'm done talking. I spared a moment to check my watch. 9:38 p.m. Damn it all, I was already 1 minute late. Unraveling what seemed like 3 miles of twine wasn't helping. Do not call the police, I continued. I won't hurt you. Something has to happen tonight that has the potential to mess you up unless you do as I say. So just stay calm, and when it's over, I'll explain everything, I'll get you paid as promised, and you can be on your way. Got it? Is this a drug thing? No drugs. Also, no, your cash isn't in my pockets. You can't take it and run when you feel like you can make a getaway without me putting up a fight. I wasn't gonna. Shush. I need to focus right now. The poor kid seemed terrified, and we were just getting set up. I unwrapped the last bit of twine into a heap beside my feet. Now, clear out an area where I can lie down. He looked a little more than flustered. Mister, I'm not going to do, sex stuff. Kid, don't flatter yourself. Please just shut up and do it. I started unfolding the canvas wrapped in twine, eager to see if the object was what I expected. If it wasn't, thankfully that had never happened, and I couldn't imagine how I'd react if it ever did. 9:39 p.m. I was 2 minutes late. The balancing act of hurrying my ass off while also making sure everything went nice and smooth was always the most challenging aspect of my job. Young man, what's your name? Harvey? He'd just finished clearing a small space in the broken old lobby. There were a few busted chairs and one of those 1960s-looking standing ashtrays next to a polyester love seat. Paint had been peeling from the walls for decades. There was a filth-covered coffee maker with a cracked carafe, perched on a small side table. A yellow rotary phone dangled off a warped wooden shelf beside a puke green metal door leading to the rest of this expansive old warehouse. Thick layers of dust and peeled paint lay gentle across the entire room. It was serene, like a layer of fresh fallen snow, blanketing a long-forgotten wood. Ages had passed since anyone has waited in this old lobby. The place smelled moldy from the damp floor, and there were rat droppings along the wall. A perfect space for death. Okay, Harvey, here's how this will shake out. I held the folded canvas in one hand and placed my other over it, devoting full attention to eye contact with this scared young man as I spoke. There's a knife in this fabric, unlike anything you've ever laid your little virgin eyes on. I'll take it out of here, kneel in that clearing you so graciously created for me, and drive it into my heart. This was typically the point where someone would tell me they were ready to vomit. I studied him as he took a step back and placed his hands against a rusty old desk, grounding himself. I think I'm going to get sick. There it was. Please don't throw up on me. Relax. I'll be fine. I've done this before, I reassured him. You just have to do 2 things for me. What? Harvey was panicked, but I thought he was doing well so far. First, don't call the police. It'll complicate things. Second, when I've bled out completely, pull the knife out, set it down on the canvas, and in moments, I'll wake up and explain what the hell is happening. Wait, blood? What? Do not touch the blade. With a flourish, I moved the canvas over and exposed the knife to his eyes. I'd done this more times than I could count, yet it left me in wonder every time. Bathed in the soft light of the musty old office, nestled within the worn, stained fabric, was the knife I'd hoped to see. The first thing my eyes always noticed was a single green emerald fitted into the pommel. My gaze drifted up the hilt, adorned in pearl and veined with black opal, to the golden rim, affixing the blade to the handle. Harvey's jaw dropped as he leaned forward, clutching his chest with his hand. Holy, I can't breathe. I didn't acknowledge him. It was the blade. It was always the blade. A honed edge so sharp it could have been a single atom in width. A shade so dark a human brain couldn't comprehend it. It looked like an illusion, even though it was right in front of us. I tried to focus on the blade, but it was so black that no matter how hard I concentrated, my eyes slid off it. It wasn't even a color, so much as the absence of reality. Harvey kept looking back and forth, from the knife to my face. What? He swallowed, his breathing as labored and ragged as my own. What is that? I grabbed the hilt and took 2 knees on the ground. Blood was pounding through my body, and my face was hot. Good. Adrenaline coursing through my veins always helped me bleed out faster. I couldn't keep my eyes off it as I spoke. A blade as black as the void, I whispered, adorned with a single emerald by mortal man. It's not of this world. Forged outside all life and time, it will outlast all creation. She is the first and the last. Harvey, meet death. What the he stammered. Death? What's happening? Our surroundings were changing. The walls had tinted shades darker, and the room now chilled me to the bone. It was unnerving what this blade could do to its surroundings. Harvey was full on freaking out, grasping for whatever object he could hang on to so he could connect with reality. I'd been there. When you light a candle in a dark room, the soft glow of light illuminates everything. Delicate flame highlights shadows and gives you a better picture of the material world that surrounds you. Warmth and life come into focus with the smallest ember. This ancient blade did the opposite of flame. It would always be the ultimate extinguisher of life. Impenetrable darkness radiated from it just as light shined from a lit candle. Light became dark, life faded, warmth disappeared, and cutting through me like an ice-cold wind was a sense of loneliness and emptiness. Everything pulsed as if breathing, and with each meticulously paced breath it drew, darkness intensified for a moment. Death's heartbeat drained life from its presence.
By this time, I knew what to expect during one of these special evenings. It was still terrifying, sure, but I was always prepared. Harvey wasn't, but I didn't have time to hold his hand and tell him everything would be okay. It was time. See you in a few minutes, kid. Harvey's eyes were frantic. He began waving his hands around. Wait, mister, no, don't do that. My knuckles were stark white as I grasped the hilt, and with one motion, I slid the blade slowly and steadily into my heart. I hated to admit it, but every time this happened, I was reminded of how good it felt. A moment of panic and a sting of pain gave way to sweet and terrible relief. It was what an addict might experience, horrified and embarrassed that a needle was slipping in one more time. I suppose that shot of pain was a reminder that something felt so good. I couldn't help but wince as it tore a hole in the center of my heart. With a slight twist, my warm, sticky blood soaked my shirt and streamed out over my hand onto a growling pool on the floor. Every time my heart pulsed, it jetted out, and I heard it slap and splatter against the concrete. I collapsed. Harvey was in shock. He may have been throwing up in the corner. It didn't matter. Death was embracing me. Warm, terrifying, blissful. The knife was insatiable. The darkness intensified and pulsed around me. I felt the tip deep in my heart, draining my life faster and faster. Its preternatural enthusiasm overpowered my will to stay alive. I closed my eyes. For a moment, everything went white. Whatever ambient noise was in that office quieted. Harvey's frantic panting, the echo of my blood tapping the concrete floor as it spilled out, began to fade away. It was like listening to the world underwater. Senses faded as I drifted faster and faster into the deep unknown. I opened my eyes. My hands went from being coated in jets of blood on a damp concrete floor to resting in cool blades of grass. Somewhere atop a small hill, on a perfect day, a warm breeze touched my face. Beautiful cherry blossom trees surrounded me. The sky above looked as if Monet himself had painted it on the atmosphere. Then I heard her. "Tisk, tisk, William," she cooed. "You're 6 minutes late." Ladies and gentlemen, that is chapter 1 of The Caretaker. Boom, which is on Amazon. I share this with you as practice. Now, there were a couple parts in there where I slipped up a little bit, and normally, if I was doing this as an official recording, I'd probably have like a notebook and just like a pencil next to me to mark down the time of like where the time is in terms of the recording, so I can go back and re-record a passage or edit and splice it back in. But in order to do that, I need a neighbor that's not watching loud TV. I need less noise outside and all of those different things. So I do my best to get this recording down, and I have no doubt that I can get through the entire book and get a really solid recording out of it. Now look, when you're recording your work for an audiobook, you need to do a couple things. You need to have all of the audio files ready to go. Everything needs to be processed, needs to be sounding right, needs to be spot on. Once you have that as a recording, you stitch it all together in one audio file with all of your edits and your adjustments as far as your processing. And then you need a cover. Audiobooks need covers, just like regular books. So you need to get a digital cover for it, which is usually pretty cheap. That's probably like $50, and somebody can just take the cover and move it to like the size specifications for an audiobook. Once that's done, it's really just a matter of doing the description, uploading it to Amazon, and all of that takes all of a day. And it's up, and it's available, and it's on Audible, and all those different things. Now look, that is what I want to do. But there is this issue that I'm having for where I am, where I can't get the clean recording, or if I do, in the middle of it, you start hearing something else going on that the microphone is picking up. It is frustrating. This is the third time I've tried to record this video, and it's maddening when I can't do it because there's so much noise or sirens or whatever else going on. So I'm doing my best. And as a dry run, I would say pretty successful, and I'm happy with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being on this journey with me. I know it's like a little weird right now on my channel because I'm just trying to find my way in terms of sharing my journey as far as a creative person and somebody who is aspiring to be much more, and get my words out to more people and get the second book written and all of those things. So, and I can do this, I can record an audiobook while I'm working on the second book. If anything, it really helps me to go back through my work and read it for certain passages that I'm writing and rewriting in the second novel, which is about 8,000 words in at this point. And it's a solid start. I'm very happy with the start of that. Obviously need some polish, but like characters and like what I'm introducing and the concept around it all is really, really juicy, and I'm very, very excited about it. So let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the audio recording, please say so. If you have questions about the book, please write them down. I will respond and at least read everything. If there's anything that you want to know about it or whatever else, I am here. I am at your disposal. If you have read it or have not and are interested, please just go to the Amazon page. The link is in the description. You can read all of the reviews on there. The book gets really good reviews. I'm very happy with it. So to wrap this all up, thank you for watching, and I will catch you very, very soon.